Hi, it's Samantha from Soap Essential, and I recently had an experience that I really wanted to share with you. A lot of you know that I'm in the military, and because of the military, I recently had an opportunity to travel to a very interesting place, the Commonwealth Northern Mariana Islands, which is about 15 hours southwest of Hawaii. So it's actually closer to Korea and Japan, about 4 hours by air. And of course, very close to Guam, about 40 minutes by air. The main island is called Saipan, and there's two other smaller islands, Rota and Tinian. Have you ever heard of it? It's a U.S. territory, and it became a U.S. territory not long after World War II. Well, what was so interesting about this trip is A, Saipan and Tinian played a crucial role during World War II. And B, not that many Americans get the opportunity to go because one, it's just too far away, and it took 33 hours to get there. You also cross the international date line, so when it's Monday, when it's like Tuesday in Saipan, it's Monday back home in the States. And then second, it's just pretty darn expensive because it's so far away. Now, if you're in the military, right, there's lots of opportunities of training all over the globe, and Saipan and Guam is one of them. So it's not unusual to run into some military folk on Saipan, but your everyday average American tourist, no, that's a lot more rare. So Saipan is the largest island, right? It's 12 miles long, 5.5 miles wide, and Tinian is 10 miles long and 5 miles wide. They're really close to each other. You could literally take a, like they call them puddle jumpers, right? Little 6-man cedar plane, and it takes like 15 to 20 minutes to fly over to Tinian and then back to Saipan. It's just, they're really close. So Saipan was crucial to the U.S. in order to defeat Japan in World War II because it was close enough that the B-29 bombers could stage there, make their runs to Japan, drop their load, and then return back to the island. But the problem was that Saipan was occupied by the Japanese. So the land had to be fought for. And it was a brutal battle. You should Google the Battle of Saipan. It's been said that winning Saipan was a crucial turning point for the U.S., to win against Japan. And once Saipan was won, it set the stage for Guam and Tinian to also be fought for and then won shortly thereafter. So once the U.S. forces had occupied Saipan, they began, feverishly building buildings and runways for, what they were planning to stage there as far as their fight against the Japanese. And on the island of Tinian, the Seabees, the Navy folk, they built the largest bomber base ever at that time. Now, I haven't even got to the interesting part yet, but my dad was a big World War II buff because his father fought in the Pacific Theater. And I remember him telling me stories about, battles and stuff going on, but some of it didn't really drive home until I was boots on ground. So I was on Saipan during the first full week of this past December. And we had site visits scheduled to Tinian and Rota. So these were just day visits. You'd fly over in the morning and then fly back to Saipan in the late afternoon or early evening. And Tinian had to be rescheduled because of a holiday on the Commonwealth Island, and it ended up getting moved to December 7th. And this is poetic on so many levels. So after we get to Tinian, we go do our site visits, and then we have enough time to go to the north part of the island where, all this staging and stuff was done to fight the Japanese. So the north end is where the B-29 bombers were staged, but also 2 historic bombs were staged there. And yep, they're the atomic bombs. Fat Man and Little Boy, as they were nicknamed. And they have 2 atomic bomb pits that are covered in these plexiglass structures. So they've got, old pictures and a plaque kind of, showing how, they loaded the bombs into the planes and stuff. But when we got there, there was a re-enlistment ceremony going on, and with the Seabees and the Navy and the Marines. And so the two atomic bomb pits, they're about 30 yards apart, and they were all gathered around the Fat Man pit. But just imagine being on the island of Tinian, the launching site of the atomic bombs, at the atomic bomb site pits, witnessing a re-enlistment ceremony on December 7th. I mean, it gave me chills. It gave me chills. I teared up. I was moved just by that whole experience and where I was standing in that moment in time. Because we all know the importance of December 7th, right? Pearl Harbor. That was, Pearl Harbor Day when the Japanese attacked us. It was just magnificent and moving. The whole area, right, it's like overgrown. It's hard to get there. There's like no real signage to get there. We had a community partner, show us the way. But if you ever have an opportunity and you want a tropical vacation, I strongly encourage, if you can afford it, to go to Saipan, because it's absolutely magnificent. It really left an impression on me just because of the historic value all around it, that I wanted to share it with you. I have photos that I wanted to add to this video, but I don't know how to do that. So, but Google the Battle of Saipan, Google Tinian and the bomb. It was such an important part of U.S. history and how it set the U.S. up to bring an end to World War II. I hope you enjoyed this. This is just what I wanted to share. It was a very moving experience for me. And, I appreciate you watching it. And I'll see you on the other side.